homoerotic implications, homoerotic insinuations, and homoerotic contemplations. All that and, well, you get the idea. As we recap episode 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. With the reanimated corpse of Jack the Ripper defeated, JoJo, Zeppeli, and Speedwagon journey onwards to the village of Wind Knight's Lot, when they are suddenly ambushed by a boy using some kind of crazy Wile E. Coyote setup, and he makes off with their luggage. JoJo and Zeppeli feel this is an excellent opportunity to bring a potential guide into their fold, but it soon becomes apparent this boy was not in his right state of mind and was being hypnotized by an outside force. To what end, they ask themselves, as the sun sets, and the answer to that question makes itself abundantly clear. As an aside, what an insane setup for a graveyard. Not only are people buried right next to each other with no rhyme or reason or organization of any kind, but it's also right next to the water. Like you're gonna be out there fishing for guppies and all of a sudden you snag a kidney and a pair of toes? Ah well. Free bait, I guess. And speaking of bait, JoJo, Zeppeli, and Speedwagon bit into theirs hook, line, and sinker, as it was in fact Dio Brando back from the dead, who lured them here to put a final end to their meddling. As it turns out, when Dio was on the brink of death, his underling Wang Chan, are we sure J.K. Rowling didn't write this? Wang Chan provided Dio the much-needed sustenance he required, and also made sure he was kept warm and didn't catch a chill. Such a kind young man. This bought Dio enough time to replenish his vigor by consuming the life force from his unsuspecting victims. Kind of like when you're in the break room at work and the office talker sits down next to you yapping away for the rest of your break, and you can just feel your vitality being slowly sucked away from your body. Yeah. Kinda like that. Zeppeli takes first crack at shutting Dio up by sending Hamon down his arm and into his foe, but the dastardly devil has a few tricks up his sleeve and freezes Zeppeli's arm, stopping the flow of blood, rendering Zeppeli's attack mute. JoJo has a go and proves to be equally ineffective. Without the flow of blood, the duo are unable to unleash their Hamon to affect Dio, and are left battered and bruised, like a pair of avocados if you forget about them in the cupboard for more than 15 minutes. Pushing his advantage, Dio turns his attention to summoning two powerful knights from the 16th century, Tarkus and Bruford. And the long and short of their backstory is they were betrayed by Queen Elizabeth I. And now they're pretty ticked off. And I know what you're thinking. A member of the royal family with questionable character? How could it be? Dio then commands the pair to destroy his adversaries, starting with JoJo. Zeppeli looks on helpless to aid JoJo, as without blood flow to his arm, he is unable to use Hamon to heal himself. It is then that Speedwagon takes it upon himself to warm Zeppeli right up and get his blood pumping. Bruford senses JoJo as a worthy opponent and challenges him to single combat. Dio is assured his minions will put an end to his enemies once and for all, and recuses himself to continue his plans of conquering England with his zombie horde and then the world. Like an undead Rapunzel, Bruford attacks JoJo, forcing them both underwater. Watch out for those toes and kidneys. Putting JoJo at a severe disadvantage, as with no air, the body is unable to regulate Hamon. Now in his most desperate hour, JoJo calls upon the memory of his father for guidance. JoJo, you ill-mannered knob. Can you do anything right? Dio would have never found himself in such a predicament. Dio would have finished Bruford before being dragged under the water. Dio would have defeated Dio in the mansion. Dio would have never fed Danny grapes. Grapes are poison to dogs. Did you know that, JoJo? Of course not, you dim-witted twat. With the familiar words of encouragement from his father ringing in his ears, JoJo is compelled to dive even deeper, both underwater and into his past childhood trauma. It is then that he is stricken with a bout of inspiration. Wind Knight's Lot is a coal mining town, meaning there is surely a pocket of air to be found underneath the nearby stones. Ah, yes, of course. Fortune smiles on JoJo as his suspicions are shown to be correct, and his lungs are once again filled with life-saving air, preparing him for an epic final showdown against his enemy. But first, I wonder how Speedwagon and Zeppeli are coming along.